Well, the federal government has disclosed that it has proposed $1 billion investment for the rehabilitation of the Nigerian ports. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Boyega Oyetola, made this revelation in a statement while addressing the House of Representatives Committee on Privatization yesterday in Abuja. Now, he noted that government is yet to fully benefit from port concessions due to inadequate infrastructure upgrade, with many ports nearing the end of their lifespan, hindering efficient operations. The minister, who was represented by Permanent Secretary Olorutola Michael, stated that during the rehabilitation process, the ministry would strive to prevent complete port shutdown. Now, this investment requires at least $1 billion. Oh well. Joining us virtually to talk about this, we have with us in the studio Barrister Darlington Agumo, and virtually we expect Dr. Ambrose Igboke to join this conversation as well. Now, Dr. Ambrose is the coordinator of Public Affairs Analyst Enugu chapter, and we expect him to join this conversation. Will be prompted when he comes in. Now, let me start with the barrister on this one. Barrister, 1 billion. Now, I understand that, yes, the ports need to be, a lot of things need to be rejigged. A lot of things need to be done properly. But with this amount, $1 billion, and then with latest events happening in the Senate as to how money thrown around with little or nothing being done. Let's first of all take off from that point. What are your thoughts here? $1 billion. Issues around money in Nigeria. Senate, Nigerians losing trust in the Senate. Your thoughts?
I don't think the Minister of Blue Economy,
Marine and Blue Economy, yeah.
Marine and Blue Economy, I don't think he got it right too.
Why so?
He has forgotten that there was a port concession some time ago.
Yeah, but they're not benefiting from the concessions. Nigerians are not benefiting from the concessions.
Hold on, I'm coming. If you are not benefiting from it, then what was the term and condition for the concession? The concessionaires, have you sat with them and asked them, why is this one not working? Why is this one not working? Why are we not benefiting from this? At least you are the one that entered into that contract. If something is wrong, call the contractor, let us sit down. Instead of asking us to give you $1 billion. That is what I'm saying. It is obvious to you and I that government is not a good manager.
From concessioning, you would have made some gains. And those gains should be used to ply back into the system, isn't it?
No, he's telling us that we are not benefiting. That is why I'm going. He's telling us that we are not benefiting. Let us hear from the concessionaires.
Okay, now,
is that not true?
We are not benefiting, but then let's look at some of the challenges that the port is being faced with. Congestion is one. We have a infrastructure limitation. That's another one. We also have disputes, labor disputes, and all of that. These are some of the challenges. Increasing container volume, and also we have the issue of foreign dominance on our waters. That in itself is another issue. Shouldn't we be looking at tackling these issues?
You see, when you are concessioning a particular agency or business, these things are included. You cannot tell me that the federal government did not see all these things you mentioned. The question is, if we are not benefiting, then the concessioning, what was the benefit? If it was not working, what made it not to work? Because it was included in the contract. So these other things now, go and check, Moses. It is the federal government that renege on their own parts. the foreign people who brought in their money to take over the port and do what is needful. Go and check. Corruption is what is hindering them. Instead of the minister to address it, he is asking for another 1 billion that will enter into the bottomless pit. Go and check. All the things we mentioned here, it is corruption. Remember when Bala Hadiza Osman was there? Remember how she left? When she was fighting with Amechi?
Yes.
What was that? Corruption. Corruption. Even that woman worked because she had written a book on how she ran Nigerian Ports Authority. She had written a book and where she stated her own story. Maybe that was why Tinubu employed her as a minister coordinating a special assistant or something of all the ministries. They have discovered that that woman was right. So it is corruption that is preserving our port, nothing else. For an economy that is import-based, do you need anybody to tell you to take care of your port?
Okay, well.
It's import-based now. We are an importing nation. So do you need anybody to provide the enabling environment so that there will be seamless operation? Like this thing you are talking of congestion. Please, those trailers that are messing up that place, who owns them? Go and check. The people that own them, they are untouchable. That is why repeatedly they have remained adamant. Even when some provision have been made for them, they still want to park just in front of the express route. Then corruption again. Those who are extorting money. Moses, do you know how much is made in that port every day? The last time I checked, somebody said they are making over 100 million. So for a business where you are making 100 million every day, would you want to let go? If you see the names that are extorting money in that port, you will be shocked. If you hear the names, those behind this extortion, somebody have come out from that place to give an account in what it is, and I was shocked when he was giving this. He was mentioning names. He was even telling you the particular house in Apapa where they go and conclude this arrangement. Security agents are involved. Highly placed security agents, they are involved in what is going on at the port. So why would you now go and bring another money when you have not cleared the rot in the port?
Now, Barrister, I'd like to find out. Now, the concession we just mentioned, the federal government entered it with some of the contractors at this point. Isn't that the issue of not having top security experts and all of that is needed for this concession to truly work? Isn't that supposed to be an issue with even the states where these ports are situated?
No, it's a federal government matter. The state have no say here.
So, for instance, my point is, for instance, let's use the Apapa port, for example. We know very well that the state can decide just today to clear out those containers on that road. Now, can't the state and the federal government come into some level of agreement to make this concession work, rather than we coming back to say 1 billion naira is needed for another revitalization of the same port?
My dear, maybe you are not aware. There was a presidential order under Buhari where Osibajo flew in from Abuja because of this congestion at the port. He gave 72 hours to clear it. After he left, they came back.
And it was cleared, actually.
It was.
That's it. I said when he left. I said when he left, they came back. Someone went there.
One of the issues being stated here also is labor issues.
Labor.
They seem to have, yes, the organized labor within the port. They seem to have an issue with them because clearing of the place is a labor issue. They tell you, look, we don't have anywhere to go. So should government provide a different place for them to put the containers? Oh well, we have
there was an arrangement whereby you will be called. You will park at a particular place. When it is your turn, you will come in. But they violated it. Mostly they violated it. Abala Usman did it. It was working seamlessly until corruption came in.
Oh well, we have Dr. Ambrose Igboke joining this conversation right now. Ambrose Igboke is the chairman, Enugu chapter of Public Affairs Analysts. Well, good morning and welcome to the conversation. Talking about activities, yes, we do know that the port generates a lot of revenue, but government is saying, look, we're not getting the benefits of the concessioning that was done, and for this reason, one of the reasons government is not getting the benefits is as a result of lack of adequate infrastructure, and so $1 billion is being proposed. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is that of shame. My thought is that of unhappiness. Because some of us saw Nigeria worked, we saw when Nigeria functioned well. And we keep asking us, and maybe some of you are too young to know when Nigeria worked. I grew up in environments where Nigeria worked. For example, my father worked in the Nigerian Sugar Company in Bashita, in Kwara State, which was basically a government-owned company exporting sugar, granulated sugar to other African countries, and meeting the sufficiency of our sugar need. You understand me? The federal government itself created 2 companies because of the waste product of sugar. They created an alcoholic company and paper mill in Japan. That was when Nigeria worked. I also grew up in DSC Alaja in Warri, where the steel plant was one of the most modern steel plants in the world, a very functional system. Now, while growing up in Warri, I knew that Warri port was working. We used to go to the port to buy things around the market there called Makaiva Market. Warri port was functional, Warri refinery was functional. Port Harcourt port was working, it was functional. Calabar port was working and it was functional. The Onisha small dock listing that they use for lifting some barges was working. Our waters were properly dredged, so we can have barges move from Lagos to anywhere.
Now, don't you think this $1 billion, don't you think this $1 billion will be channeled into dredging some of these ports?
You cannot be talking about, we have to lay a background of the context of this discussion so that Nigerians will know why we are doing what we are doing and why we are not doing it right. It is not about $1 billion or $10 billion. It is about the fact that we have refused other ports in Nigeria to work on purpose. So we need to have a background. That's why I'm laying this background, so that we don't drop $1 billion. That is discussing the cosmetic reasons.
The question I was going to ask you actually, the question I was going to ask you actually is, don't you think these monies will be channeled into dredging and ensuring that other ports work? That was the question I was going to ask you.
The question is that they don't want other ports to work. It's deliberate. Because, as you said, this money is, why are other ports not working? It is a purpose from Abuja or from those who are in power to ensure that only Lagos port work. And that is why Lagos port is congested. As my colleague said in the studio there, because some people, individuals, are ripping off the system and making money from it. And that is why only Lagos port is allowed to, work. Some of these ports, they have nothing wrong with them. If not for the LNG and for the some of the things where the gas and some of the things we are lifting from on ports, they will not have allowed on it to work. But because they don't know how to do that, and they are bringing it to Lagos or whatever will not work, that is why they are listening. So they have killed our refineries and import refined products only to Lagos port. Why are we not importing refined products to Port Harcourt? Why are we not bringing them to Warri Port? What of Calabar Port? So it is a grand scheme of economic conspiracy that the government is doing, and the government knows what it is doing. So all these other ones are not distraction, bringing $1 billion to chop more money, nothing else. Because the problem of Apapa Port is congestion. How do you decongest the port? Make your other ports work.
Okay. Dr. Ambrose.
Why will it? Yes, I'm listening.
All right, talking about congestion and how to decongest the ports, there's this call from the people that stays within the commercial hub. I mean, talking about Abia State now, the way the economic activities is happening there, and that of Onitsha people saying that they need a port, you know, maybe within the, let's say, the Niger River there, that they should drain it clear so that they will actually have a port, so that they can easily get whatever goods that they want into the environment to avoid, you know, the stress or the rigorous issue of moving from Lagos with the containers, and, you know, before they bring it down to those areas, they are spending half or more than what they use in bringing down the goods. What do you make of that?
Let me tell you what is happening. These solutions have been there, but the government have refused it to work. Nigerian Shippers Council, even beyond what you are saying, developed a project called IDPs, internal dry ports. What it means is that you can actually move your goods from anywhere you are in the country. You can move it in Kaduna. There's one in Kaduna. I think they are trying to do one in Enugu. There's one in different parts of the country where you sit in Kaduna, move your container in that dry port. Without, it's not a port. They have rail system and everything. They'll move these things. The cargo, the custom is there. Everybody is there. They move it. Your container has moved and it goes to Lagos and, you know, departs the shores of the country. The same way you want to receive it, it comes. And the person in Aba, what is the distance between Aba and Port Harcourt? What is the distance between Onitsha and Warri? And then we are also talking about our existing ports in the different parts of the country. Just make it work. Make them work. If they work, we can now start talking about dredging Onitsha River, River Niger, and the rest. We're able talking about things that are what you call, you know, dangling apples, dangling fruits that you can just pluck. That you don't even need all these dredging big things you are talking about. Why are the other ports not allowed to work? That is the question that the federal government needs to answer. And because I'm not allowed other ports to work, imagine a truck driving from Port Harcourt to Lagos. Another one driving from Zamfara to Lagos, driving from Benin. What is the distance between Benin and Warri? So because of that, every truck, to buy the for tanker, for petrol tanker, for export of to move containers, everybody converge in Lagos. Is this supposed to be like that? No. Nigeria has developed ports since the 60s and 70s. So we are going back 60 years behind.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much, Dr. Ambrose. Now I'm going to come to you, Barrister. Someone that, of course, granted an interview to Vanguard newspaper sometime in September last year, made a very shocking revelation. And he said that about 40 million every day on bribery and illegal taxes was being collected from them within the corridor. Now, this person, of course, represents operators of the logistics, truck logistics, you know, within the Lagos seaport. You also made mention of the fact that there is corruption in the system. How can this be tackled head on? Because $1 billion for revitalizing our port, just like both of you have mentioned, isn't the major issue. How can this be tackled?
The onus lie on the federal government to do the needful, because they are the owners of these ports. The last time I checked, it's a federal government matter. Let me tell you what happened to Calabar Port. A particular governor, who is the sitting governor now in the south, was given $12 million to dredge Calabar Port. He didn't. EFCC was after him. Instead of the federal government to pursue that case to a logical conclusion, what did they do? For reasons best known to them, they left the matter and made him a governor. The first day he entered as a governor of that state, he wrote a letter to EFCC to warn them not to disturb him again, that he's not a governor, and his immunity covers him. Case closed. Now, a federal government
about Governor Governor Alex Otu?
No, Oduke.
Okay.
Now, what I'm saying in essence is that if the federal government want to do something for God's sake, you and I know how they pursue that thing.
Well,
They will pursue.
Governor Otu has been pushing for the dredging of Port Harcourt refinery, and we also have Oboriwori pushing for activities in the Delta to ensure that things are done.
That is worry
in as
pot.
much, yes. In as much as it's a federal government issue, can the governors play a role in this to ensure that the ports within where they govern is paid attention to?
No. You see, I am telling you, I said when federal government is insistent on doing something, you know how they pursue it to achieve their goal. Like these ports that are in Lagos here. Did they need anybody to, push them? At least the last time we have 4 ports in Lagos now: Badagry, Tinkan, and Apapa. Then Dangote's refinery, the one they are doing over there, New Lagos. How can Lagos contain 4 seaports with the small land you have in Lagos? Don't you see calamity coming? Congestion will, in fact, the day something will start happening at that lake Yazoo, some people may stay on the road for 2 days. If that refinery takes off fully, there will be no space for anybody. Didn't they see all those things? I remember I raised this issue that Lagos does not have land for such a project here. It's a small place. And you are putting such a thing here when Calabar is there, lying fallow. The biggest ship in the whole world landed at One about 3 or 4 years ago. To tell you that we have something there at One. But for reason best known to them, they concentrated in Lagos here. If it is working smoothly, I won't bother, I won't care. But you can see now we're having problem. It's not working. So what are you supposed to do? So this thing they are shouting, we are not getting benefit. How can you get benefit when the place is congested, overloaded? How can you?
Now, Barrister, I'd like to find out from you. Some persons are on some quarters saying there is some level of conspiracy theory to not allow any level of seaport operations happen within the southeast. Are you of that opinion as well?
If you have 10 importers bringing in something at Apapa, at least 7 or 8 of them are Igbos. 7 or 8 of them are Igbos. Do you need anybody to provide this thing for them over there? At least to bring down the cost of goods and services. Because they will have to take this in to the southeast, to the north and all that. But if you have something at River Niger there, Onitsha, or One, it will be closer. They can just take badges and bring things to Lagos here. If they may not even bother, because if you have at One and have at Onitsha, you can now distribute. You can split it. But everything, Apapa, everything, Apapa, everything, Apapa. Why wouldn't there be congestion? Why will you get this infrastructure, this you are talking about? My dear, something was put on that place, but because of what? Overuse. Overuse. That was why those things are wearing out. That is it. We have overused all this infrastructure at Apapa Port. The congestion alone, no space. So why wouldn't the thing fade away in no time? That's the problem. The federal government is aware. People have told them, we have shouted, we haven't made suggestions yet, they refuse to listen. Because they have made up their mind.
Dr. Ambrose, I want to ask you this. 2005-2006, the federal government embarked on ambitious port reform aimed at revitalizing Nigeria's maritime sector. But we had Minister of Maritime and Blue Economy, Boyega Oyetola, telling us that even the reason for that reforms, which are supposed to be operational efficiency, increase productivity, boost government revenue, attract investment, and facilitate technology, transfer, that none of these things actually is yielding any result. Let me put it that way. Now, what do you think the Nigerian Port Authority needs to do for them actually to be able to get all the things that the government had intention when they were doing the port reforms in 2005 to 2006?
I think this question you're asking me, they have it. The experts have given them the what to do. They know. So Yetola is just speaking like a politician and diverting the matters. He knows. He has the reports. They know what to do. But as somebody has said, sitting in the studio, some people are making money off the dysfunctional system. And the politicians know those things. So for us here coming to the studio to talk is also to raise the awareness that the politicians are not doing what they know should be done to enhance our port operations in Nigeria, not just our Papa port. One of the things that he has brought down, why did Obasanjo said, okay, let's concession our ports? But the rot he met in the system, he was so bewildered, that is, he was so bewildered with the rot that he said, no, we can't even run it. But even after the concessioning, the government after him have come again and started reintroducing all kinds of shenanigans, bureaucracies again. And we are back to square one. Now, one of the things is on port operation is the turnaround of clearance and the ports, both for goods that are going out and for goods that we are receiving. It takes approximately 24 hours to 48 hours to clear your goods at Benin Port, in Benin Republic, our next door neighbor. In Nigeria, it takes forever. There are too many federal agencies of government inspecting one thing.
Exactly.
NAFDAC is there, custom is there, immigration is there, all kinds of human beings are there. They have introduced even electronic system of clearance. They refuse to make sure it doesn't work.
You are right.
Because a government does not have the political will to do what it is right. They know what it is right.
Dr.
There was an example when Nigeria was trying to export yams. Our yams stayed 75 days here.
All right, Dr. Ambrose.
And somebody went to Benin Republic and did it under 3 days, and they moved.
Okay, so I'm still going to stay with you. What do you think state governors in the Southeast at this time can do to facilitate and make sure that the seaport situation and troubles that the states around them are having can be made, having a solution to it, a lasting solution? What do you think these state governors can do? Also, not forgetting the economic benefits it's going to bring to these states. Because, of course, we know very well, even if the federal government decides to not want to do it, the state governments can also start off to champion that cause. What can they do at this point?
Well, part of the thing they can do, there are two things they can do. There is already one that is easy to do. They can partner with the Nigerian Shippers Council to ensure that the inland dry ports, the dry ports that are being mapped out in the region is fully developed. In that way, our people do not need to go to Lagos to send their goods or whatever. It can always be cleared from the inland dry port, Nobola for here, or wherever they want to put it, and then it moves to Lagos and it's cleared. That is the immediate thing they can do. Then the short-term thing they can do in the mid-term is to, like, I will hear that Dr. Lesoti of Abia is trying to do some mainland ports and some other. We have ports even in rivers that we can use as port. Onisha is already there, some other places.
Yeah.
Is to now work with NIWA to develop those places, those ports, so that barges can come and move. But in the long term, what we need to achieve any progress, is to ensure that the federal government releases some of this inland waterway management to the states. Lagos state government had a running battle with NIWA, Nigeria Inland Waterways Authority, for like 6 years. They were in court because Lagos state was tired and they had to float their own inland waterway authority. And the federal government, the Supreme Court says no, that is the federal government. Exactly. So inland waterway is still under the exclusive list. And that is the tragedy of this whole thing. It should be unbundled and taken to the concurrent list, so that states can now put money and develop their own inland water. States can come together. For example, a Lagos state, an Edo state, Ondo state, Delta state, Edo state, and then Anambra, Enugu can come together and free their own waterway from the Atlantic down. The same thing with Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and the rest. People can combine together, but now somebody is sitting somewhere in Abuja and some of them don't even know these rivers. They don't even know where they are situated. And then he sits down on a fire So we need to unbundle that, just as we have done telecoms, just as we have done recently, we have done electricity. We need to do the inland waterways. So that then we can now start looking at serious, like on a port. That is what we call concessioning. You can see the way it's functioning.
All right,
we can do all our other ports that way. Not this kind of Jankara concessioning we have in Apapa. It's not working.
All right, so he calls it a Jankara concession. Oh, well, this is how far we can stretch this conversation. We'll quickly get into another issue now.
The federal government of Nigeria has filed terrorism charges against the detained president of Mieti Allah, Katwal Hore Bello Badejer. And we'll have to look at this after the quick break. Okay, but also to let you know that joining us to dissect this matter, we'll have Barrister Darlington Agumo with us to talk about that here in the studio. And also we have Dr. Ambrose Iboke. He's a coordinator for the analyst in Enugu State chapter. Okay, after this break.